This is CBC Here and Now.
You may not have heard of Michael Budden before, but you'll remember him after today.
The sport is amazing in itself. I like to extend my body. I like to move.
We feel that every individual can become anything.
He's a high school student in Stephenville who's competing in cross-country skiing at the Russian Special Olympics in 2022. I'll introduce you to Michael. That's tonight.
Well, it's springtime, not a whole lot of sunshine in the forecast, a lot more fog. I'll get into those details.
Good evening and welcome to a special 30-minute edition of Here and Now. I'm Pierre. Let's get to our top story. Atlantic Canadians may get a chance to visit France this summer if Saint-Pierre and Miquelon gets its way. Saint-Pierre and Miquelon is asking to join the Atlantic bubble. The territory is pushing for international border between our two countries to reopen. Here Now's Heather Gillis reports.
The French territory of Saint-Pierre and Miquelon is an hour-and-a-half ferry ride from Fortune on the Burin Peninsula, and its government wants in on the Atlantic bubble. It would mean the French residents could visit Newfoundland and Labrador and the rest of Atlantic Canada without a 2-week quarantine.
Here would be great for our economy.
Chris Shepard is in the tourism industry, and he's excited by the idea.
You know, it's pretty significant, the impact they have on our economy, because they travel here regularly. When, pre-COVID, they would travel here regularly on the ferry, do a lot of shopping and spend a lot of money, tour around.
It also means Atlantic Canadians could visit Saint-Pierre. The international border between that island and this one has been shuttered for over a year now. The territory's president, Bernard Briand, wants that to change. He's written to the French federal representative asking to open the border. He says it's easier and more economical for their 6,000 residents to visit this province as opposed to mainland France. He's calling on the premier to facilitate discussions. In a statement, Andrew Furey says the French territory is subject to the federal government's travel guidance. Our province looks forward to welcoming visitors as soon as it's safe to do so, after discussions with the appropriate levels of government. Meanwhile, Shepard says opening up the French islands would be a boost for this province's struggling tourism sector.
Not only would it be Newfoundlanders and Labradorians coming to our region, but it would be other Atlantic Canadians coming to Newfoundland. And again, they're going to come here, spend their money, and significantly improve the economy.
He says they've been working closely with the French islands, and their letter is likely the first step in a process.
The first thing would be to get Newfoundland and Labrador on board, and I think we'll then have to move on to the other Atlantic premiers. And if there is a desire for that within Atlantic Canada, I think then we would move on to the next step to go to the federal government.
So far, about half of the French islands' residents have been vaccinated against COVID-19, and there are no active cases of the virus. The Atlantic bubble is expected to open in 2 weeks' time. Heather Gillis, CBC News, St. John's.
Now, reopening the Atlantic bubble is contingent on case numbers staying low, with no new cases of COVID-19 in the province over the weekend. Newfoundland and Labrador has just 4 active cases and no one is in hospital. New Brunswick, on the other hand, is struggling. That province has a record high number of hospitalizations and more than 160 active cases. Their chief medical officer of health says at this point, the Atlantic bubble still isn't a sure thing.
It's not just the pure number of cases, it's the fact that they're mostly the variant right now. So there's a higher proportion of people that need to be hospitalized, there's a higher proportion of people that need ICU admission. So it will be telling in the next week, and obviously after the Easter holiday weekend, again, I think anything can happen at this point, and we're very, very concerned. And we do want citizens to understand the risks right now around these variants. Again, variants, the 3 Vs, variants, vigilance, and vaccine. So really, this is a very critical time. The differences from week to week, from day to day are incredible. So we'll keep watching and waiting. If we can all agree and feel safe and secure about our ability to contain the variants right now, great. But again, time will tell.
Staying with travel, it seems Marine Atlantic won't be raising its rates after all. In a tweet, the corporation said COVID-19 continues to affect the Canadian economy, so it's decided to dial back on its pricing. At the start of this month, a cost of crossing went up, but now the company says anyone who's traveled in the last few days or already has paid for an upcoming trip will receive a refund for the difference. The price rollback also includes Marine Atlantic's commercial rates.
Well, it's been a gray and foggy day for most of the island, even up through portions of Labrador. We're sitting in this persistent easterly flow as a ridge of high pressure sits north of us and an area of low pressure sits to the south. And we're seeing some showers move through right now. A little bit of sunshine for the west coast. I could see on the cameras earlier today that led to temperatures reaching about 12 to 14 degrees for areas along the west coast. Not so much towards the east, only reaching those highs of the single digits, and then up through Labrador as well, sitting around 2 degrees for Lab City and 6 in Happy Valley, Goose Bay this afternoon. Now, as we head through the night tonight, that rain, drizzle, and fog will generally continue. Winds strong as well, or at least breezy out of the east, anywhere from 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. Temperatures sitting into the single digits, and then a little bit of snow potential up through Nain. Lab City, you'll see the potential for some freezing drizzle as well, but I'll get into the full forecast details coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. The province's PC party president has quit. Eugene Manning sent his resignation to party executive today, saying his decision is effective immediately. In that letter, Manning said it's unlikely he'll be able to remain neutral during the upcoming leadership race. Manning says he may run for the top job or will throw his support behind another candidate. David Brazel is serving as interim PC leader after Ches Crosby stepped down last week after losing his seat in the election. Well, this is spring break for many students in the province. High school students are wondering whether they'll be able to go back to the classroom next week when school resumes. Because most high schools can't keep the 2 meters apart that students need to be or keep them cohorted in classes, learning has gone online.
My name is Sky Moyles. I'm from Lousport.
I'm Heidi Pike. I'm in grade 11 and I go to Glovertown Academy and I live in Terra Nova.
My name is Aaron Norris. I live in Paradise.
My name is Karis Jackson. I'm from Gander Bay.
At the beginning, it wasn't bad because everyone was like, okay, we're only home for 2 weeks. We're out of school. It's a break. It's fine. And now everyone else gets to go back to school and we're still not in school. Our cases are low, so it just feels completely pointless that we're home. And it's just been really difficult because now we're all struggling to do classes because we're doing more work now than we were at the beginning.
It's really hard to stay focused for me, and I'm a really slow typer, so it takes me a lot longer than an hour to complete an assignment that I need to have done that class.
When you're home, it's really hard to get that type of attention from your teacher. In class, if you're caught, dozing off or thinking in your own little world, it's very easy for a teacher to come up to you and just tell you, hey, focus on your work. At home, it's very different. There's no teacher present. They're on the call. We can see the teacher, but they can't see us. They can't see if we're on our phone playing our Xboxes or whatever.
So many people are not doing the work, and then it makes you feel like you're doing it all, and other people just aren't doing the work they should be, so it makes you frustrated. And a lot of poor internet connection out here too, like surrounding places, they can't even get on the internet to even get into school, so it's not good.
In the grand scheme of things, it just doesn't meet the same as a classroom, and I don't think because the social aspect isn't there and just the actual feel of being in the classroom, it just can't be matched.
We don't get to see anyone, we don't get to leave the house. It's been hard now after a long time.
I think that there have been other provinces such as Nova Scotia, such as New Brunswick, that have dealt with outbreaks, not to the same extent as Newfoundland, but that have dealt with outbreaks, and they've been able to send their kids back to school in a safe and timely manner.
I just hope we really do get back back into our high school, as it is a really hard year for many people. High school is the years that count, and we should be in school for doing high school. We should be in school. There's no reason why we shouldn't be.
I don't feel like we're really prepared at all because I know we haven't learned everything we need to learn for next year, and it feels like we're not going to because we're just taking so long because we're all asking the teachers to teach stuff again online because we're not understanding it. So I think if we were in school, we would be better prepared, but it just feels like we're not prepared at all for next year.
I think it's important that we really do get back because, especially for the level 3 students or the grade 12s, you know, university's coming up. It's a huge step, or post secondary, college, whatever anyone's going to. It's going to be a huge adjustment. And I think you need to be adequately prepared for that, or it's going to be a really hard reality.
Well, it's hard keeping up with Michael Budden. The teen whips around the Nordic Ski Club in Stephenville, training for the ultimate trial, the 2022 Special Olympics in Russia.
Yeah, here now is Colleen Connors met up with Michael and his family to learn more about this superb West Coast competitor.
When you have a big passion, like just like in general, just to make sure that you can move your body as much and as hard as you possibly can, then like really the next thing is just like enjoying where you're at.
We don't believe in disability. We're very strong supporters of differing ability. We feel that every individual can become anything.
This is where Michael Budden spends his spare time, training an impressive 6 days a week.
My favorite thing about cross-country skiing is just more to do with like how much I like to just move my body in general. I like to extend my body. I like to move. I like to be, you know, assertive physically. So it gives me a chance to really go all out when I do that.
One of Michael's legs is slightly shorter than the other, but on skate skis he's found his speed and balance. His parents were told when they adopted him at 14 months old, Michael would never walk. Years of physio and rehab at the Janeway changed that prediction. And his family, his parents and sisters found a space and community here at the ski club. Michael started skiing as a toddler. He got fast, started competing, and has thrived through the Special Olympics program over these past 5 years.
He has one leg that's shorter than the other, and he's autistic, and he's got a million other challenges, but it just makes things, he has differing abilities, and he's always been a go-getter, so he strives at whatever he's going to do.
In January, he'll leave this Stephenville Ski Club to compete at the Special Olympics World Winter Games in Russia.
It just feels great. Just having the opportunity to go. I hope, you know, the COVID situation is all cleared up by then. We can
we're
go.
believing.
Yeah. It's amazing. Obviously, we're going too. We can't go with him. He goes on his own, but we'll be going on another plane.
When he's not studying to complete his grade 12, working part-time, or preparing for college in the fall, Michael is training with his volunteer coaches to prepare for the competition of a lifetime.
Really, when I'm in competition, I'm just in my zone, just like, you know, skiing, like just, you know, doing what I like to do, you know, just moving my body, just again being assertive until like the finish line.
Michael's goal is to get in as many runs as he can here at the ski club before the season ends. Next comes dryland training and a whole lot of hard work because Russia is only 9 months away. Colleen Connors, CBC News, Stephenville.
Next weather update is brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation Home Lottery. Bonus deadline is midnight Friday, April 9th. Order tickets now at hcfhomelottery.ca.
Ashley, the weather is not exactly, this isn't the nicest time of the year for weather in this province. And in Labrador, a mix of snow, melt, freezing rain, it's created quite a mess in Happy Valley Goose Bay this weekend.
Yeah, and that is the perfect recipe for flooding. It all started on Friday, 17 centimeters of snow, followed by 28 hours of freezing rain and then rain.
Yep, that looks like a swimming pool. The town issued a safety advisory as flood waters began rising and eating away at gravel roads. Becky Miquelon shared some footage. That's her in her kayak going down the road in town.
That's incredible. Yeah, flooding is not unusual for this time of year in Happy Valley Goose Bay, but the mayor says that this winter has been especially warm.
I can go back to my childhood in Miquelon, and since I moved to Goose Bay in 1973. Yes, we've had a mild spurt, probably in a month of January, or it could be February. But I don't think that anyone has seen the warm temperatures that we've had this past year. We also hear the same thing from the North Coast. The lateness that the ice caught over on the bays on the North Coast of Labrador. And we're hearing from people here that go down for the annual seal hunt on the bay from Happy Valley Goose Bay, Mud Lake, and Northwest River that usually happens around the 20th of April, and they're very concerned if the ice is going to be safe to go on.
Yeah, we've been seeing lots of mild temperatures across Labrador. Today was no exception. 8 degrees in Cartwright this afternoon, 2 in Miquelon, hovering around 0 for Nain, and then we've got those temperatures above 0 for the rest of Labrador. Happy Valley Goose Bay sitting at 6 degrees. We saw a little bit more milder temperatures for the west coast, thanks to a few peaks of sun for Corner Brook, and then we've got those temperatures sitting in the single digits as you head east in that onshore flow. There's a look at those winds right now, anywhere from 20 to as much as 50 kilometers per hour sustained winds right now in the Rec House area. Not a whole lot of wind to speak of up through Labrador, but again, that persistent onshore flow in those easterlies is leading to lots of fog and rain, and we're not really going to see a break of that, at least the fog, until it looks like Saturday. We'll see a shift to more northerly component winds, which is also going to bring the chance of some snow, but then that will change right back into that potential for easterlies, or at least into that easterly flow, which will bring back that RDF again. So taking a look at the current satellite and radar, a whole lot of rain happening for the southern portion of the island. A few peaks of sun along the west coast, but that shower activity will generally continue as we head through the evening tonight and then into the first half of tomorrow, as well as we see some periods of rain, which will be heavy at times as we head into the early morning hours, certainly through the afternoon tomorrow, and then some drizzle and showers possible across Labrador as well. And as far as rainfall amounts go, it's looking like the most will be for eastern areas of the island. So this takes us through to tomorrow morning, and as we head through the day, eastern areas of the Avalon could pick up anywhere from 20 to 30 millimeters of rain, then widespread areas of somewhere between 10 to 20 millimeters again by Wednesday morning. Taking a look at the temperatures for tomorrow, not a whole lot of change, anywhere from 4 to 5 degrees in the east. Those winds will be out of the east and pick up a little bit, 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. A little gusty on the west coast as well, certainly in the coastal areas. You're looking at gusts upwards of 60 kilometers per hour, but again, those temperatures should reach the double digits, although under gray skies with some periods of rain continuing through the day. Up through Labrador, you're looking at temperatures above 0, some drizzle possible, and then some periods of snow possible for Nain, as well as your temperatures hover around 2 degrees. Temperatures will stay pretty similar across the Big Land into Wednesday. A few peaks of sun possible for Lab City. Otherwise, again, essentially the same forecast with some periods of rain, drizzle, and fog continuing. Port aux Basques may see a few peaks of sunshine. Certainly by Thursday, it looks like we'll see a little bit more sunshine in play along the west coast. And again, those temperatures in the double digits, a little cooler towards the single digits for the eastern areas. and then similar temperatures again up through Labrador. Taking a look at the 5-day forecast, unfortunately, the RDF will continue right through Saturday. We do have that potential for some snow in play through central and western Newfoundland. You're in the west, a little better forecast there for you. Some more sunshine in play with temperatures into the single digits. For eastern Labrador, gray skies, some flurries possible for Friday, certainly into Saturday as well, as your temperature hovers around 1 degree. And then in the west, you're looking at some sunshine by the time we get to the weekend. Want to share this photo from Don, a mozzie old day on Barhaven Island. Thank you for sharing that. If you have any weather photos, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Today marks 20 years since Memorial Stadium in St. John's closed. For younger folks, Memorial Stadium is the Dominion grocery store down by Kitiviti Lake. But the stadium was a major hub for people like the Gibbons family. 20 years ago, during the final hockey season, they shared some of their memorial memories with Here Now's Jonathan Crow.
What you see here is progress. The new Mile 1 Stadium in downtown St. John's. Open in time for next hockey season, the brand new home of the American Hockey League's St. John's Maple Leafs. What you see here is a big piece of local hockey history. The the soon-to-be mothballed St. John's Memorial Stadium. Back in the 50s, this place was state-of-the-art, and people in St. John's were proud of their brand new hockey arena. So proud that many of them donated 2% of their salary to help build the place.
For the Gibbons family, the stadium was simply a part of life. They grew up right across the street.
I don't even think I had a shot on goal. I don't even think they shot.
We watched it go up, and then they started the pee-wee hockey, and they had to put their names in. Anybody wanted to play pee-wee hockey? Brian put his name in. He was lucky enough to get his name picked.
It was artificial ice. I mean, the only hockey, I guess, that when I was a kid that we played down in Quadavada Lake, and we played up the old St. Bon's Forum. Yeah. And there was no, in St. John's, there was no artificial ice, and this was the first artificial ice, so it meant that you could have constant ice on a regular basis. Look at this, Mom. This was one of the only times when I played goal I didn't have any lumps on my head from pucks hitting me in the forehead.
When they weren't on the ice, the boys were in the stands, part of the huge crowds that packed the stadium for high school and senior hockey.
These guys were like Wayne Gretzky is today to us. Everybody knew them in St. John's. Everybody knew how many goals they got, and at school the next day, the topic of conversation would be like the hockey game last night.
Oh, it was fantastic. Better than the Maple Leafs. Oh, yes. When they had Cornbrook come in, and Grand Falls, and Buckens, St. John's and Bellisle, gosh, it was good hockey.
All the time the boys spent at the stadium paid off. 2 of them played pro. Brian was in the Red Wings organization, even played an exhibition game against Jean Beliveau and the Canadiens. Here he is playing against Ken Dryden in the American League. When Brian quit playing, he came home, back to St. John's and the stadium. As for Evelyn, she never really left the place.
It was like one fellow said to me over in the stadium the other night, he said, Ms. Gibbons, I can remember you. He said, when I was a little fella, coming in and lacing up our skates for us, getting us ready for hockey. I was over there with them all the time.
The Gibbons are taking in every game they can, savoring every moment, every memory. Jonathan Crow, CBC News at Memorial Stadium in St. John's.
Well, now to some sad news about a familiar face and a blast from the past for many of you watching at home.
Yeah, Shirley Newhook, who hosted Coffee Break and other shows here at CBC Television during the 1970s and 80s, has died.
Born in Ontario, raised in Brooklyn, Shirley worked at the New York fashion industry before moving to St. John's with her family in the 60s. With CBC, she interviewed the likes of Vera Lynn and Margaret Trudeau. In her later years, Shirley had a weekly column in the Telegram.
Shirley Newhook leaves behind a large extended family in St. John's, Ontario, and the United States. Plans are underway for a church service and celebration of life. And in lieu of flowers, her family is accepting donations to St. Luke's Community Living or the province's Alzheimer's Society.
There you go. Well, before we go for tonight, because it is a half-hour edition of Here and Now, interesting interview coming up tomorrow. I'm talking to one of the people who's in charge of contact tracing in this province. So we're going to look back at the most recent outbreak, talk about what it takes to do contact tracing, and the important role they play. So hopefully you can tune in tomorrow night. And that's it. Have a great evening, everyone.
Good night.